What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And today is going to be the start of a new series that I'm going to do. It's basically going to involve science or BroScience to see whether some BroScience can be converted into science. And I'm going to try and make logic of it all by using actual studies. And I'm gonna try to keep it interesting by keeping it to classic bodybuilding, of course, and also sports nutrition. This kind of goes hand in hand with what I learned at school, that you cannot just take advice right off the bat. It's got to be substantiated in studies. So that's why I'm showing you this right now, because it's something that I preach in a lot of my videos, and I didn't even intend to make a video like this until I saw this study pop up in my Instagram feed randomly. So I thought, hey, maybe this is a nice way to explain it to you guys. So this is basically going to be about what I'm always saying about getting into the muscle when you're training it. So researchers at Ohio University actually did a study to find out whether thinking about lifting weights without actually doing anything would have an effect on muscle strength. So what they did is they got a group of guys, and all of them, they put like a splint on their arm from their elbows to their fingertips, so they're unable to do this, unable to use this entire arm. So if you're stuck like this, that you cannot lift any weights, and they were instructed not to contract any muscle in that arm. But they told half of the group to 5 times a day visualize using this arm, contracting the muscle, especially the forearm, and flexing the wrist. So in their minds, they were thinking about lifting weights with that arm that is stuck in a splint, not contracting any muscles at all. And what they found out is that the guys who didn't think about anything lost 45% muscle strength, and the guys who did think about lifting weights only lost 25%. So this study is basically for people, is meant for people who are in the hospital, for example, who suffer from some sort of disease or illness which makes them unable to work out for a long period of time. And because muscle loss or muscle wasting is such a problem in a lot of hospitals with a lot of people, especially elderly, they are trying to find out ways to prevent as much muscle loss as possible. And let me read a literal quote of them that they said. They actually say that our study suggests that imagery exercises could be a valuable tool to prevent or slow muscles from becoming weaker. Now, this kind of goes hand in hand with what bodybuilders have been saying since the 70s. The mind-muscle connection is real. When you hear Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, I'm just using a prime bodybuilder as an example here, explain that you have to get into the muscle when you're working out.
Because as you're seeing it in the mirror, you're pumping it, you're watching it, that's part of it. You're talking about the calf splitting apart. Those are all things that you were visualizing as they were happening.
And also you have to feel it.
Yep.
The key thing is that you visualize it, but you have to feel the muscles. That's the key thing, because then they grow.
You cannot just use momentum, use the movement to move the weight, but actually get into the muscle, contract it as hard as you can at the top, even if there's no tension here, because I could just do this. Contract it yourself, get into the muscle and strengthen the mind-muscle connection. You gotta visualize contracting that muscle as you're doing it. Actually visualize it. I personally have never even looked this up or saw a study that was explaining this phenomena, that a mind-muscle connection is important to build muscle or to enhance muscle strength or to prevent muscle loss, muscle strength from happening, or anything like that. But just reading this study right here, just knowing that this has been tested thoroughly, and seeing the results that thinking about muscles, thinking about contracting the muscles actually has an effect on muscle strength. So you can imagine if you are actually actively lifting weights and bodybuilding and thinking about it, this just strengthens this connection between the nervous system and the muscles and the brains, and this just enhances the overall effect of training. That is why mind-muscle connection is important. And I think it goes way deeper than we all think, because you see some of these physiques that they're big, but they're not really separated. You cannot really see the lines. For example, if they do a bicep, for example, this line, even if they get to 1% body fat, it's still invisible. Of course, it's partly genetics, but it's also partly the mind-muscle connection that you would have to use from the beginning, consistently for years, until you reach a level of muscle where you can actually see all these lines appear. Some people and some bodybuilders just don't have this, and you can actually see it in their way of training. Short movements, you can see that they're not focusing on contracting the muscle, it's just moving it up and down without thinking about what muscle they are training. This is why I also advocate using low weights. For example, when doing side lateral raises, if you go very heavy, you cannot actually get into this muscle. You will build muscle, but it's just going to be in this entire area. You want to focus on the side delt, so what you do is you actually make sure that you contract it every time you go up. That way you will get the maximum results for the least amount of work, which is what we all want. So this is just one of the videos that I will be doing. This is just something to, I think a lot of people already were aware of this, but some people think that mind-muscle connection is just some bro science, and it was for a long time. This study is from 2014. I honestly have no idea if other studies like this have been done, but I just saw this one and I thought it was interesting to make a video about it. So this is video number 1 of this series. I'm not sure how I'm gonna call it yet, but you will see in the title. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to stay golden.